Yeah. Wait.
see.
I'm now a serious investor from Silicon Valley with glasses and everything.
I'm a securities advisor, apparently. So INX asked me to wear this vest. I didn't wear a shirt, but yeah.
Should we talk about EBITDA and taxation?
What?
Taxation is theft.
I think these are very important topics to cover.
Since when do you care about taxes?
Since as an INX investor and Ethereum proponent, I care about, all Ethereum people care about paying taxes. It's very important to us.
Yeah, and that's why you created Monero to evade taxes.
I never created Monero. It's logical and preposterous.
Okay, so I guess for most people watching the stream, so we had an attempt at people trying to cancel us because some people finally figured out that we are not really Bitcoin maximalists.
Also, we have an intro song that we normally play at this point, but we don't have to.
Well, I know. Okay, we get started. Okay, but because like half the intro song is about Bitcoin maximalism and that we're not wearing suits, and we're wearing suits, so it's not kind of really relevant anymore.
I'm not wearing a suit.
The intro song is cancelled.
Okay.
Yeah, but Samson, you are a suit. You've got a security token on a game and everything.
Yeah, and I work for Blockstream, which is owned by the
banks.
banks.
Blockstream Core. Yeah.
AXA. Okay, AXA. Ricardo, start the intro.
Starting intro now.
Magical crypto. The best thing to do is simply to hodl. What's a young pony to do in a sea of shady ICOs? A lion's courage can light up even the darkness of shadows. Unlike the corporate suits, the whale panda is wise. A chicken dreams about the moon while soaring in the skies. As Bitcoin sees new all-time highs. Magical crypto. All around me I see big blockheads. Magical crypto. The best thing to do is simply to hodl. We'll always buy the dip, and we'll always be the best of the rest.
Crypto hypocrites, apparently.
So wait, I thought it's magical security friends.
Security hypocrites, or whatever. So yeah, let's talk about INX. So I will tell first how I came to it. So the start of 2018, Alan came to me and he said he was going to launch a new exchange.
Wait, you didn't introduce us.
But I never do it. I don't do that anymore because it doesn't work, because you have to talk, because otherwise you can, like, it's only the speaker who's visible on YouTube.
Okay.
So fine. If I say something now, like Samson, welcome, then you have to say something before you show up.
Hello, Will Panda.
Well, people know who you are now because you've been canceled.
Because of INX?
Yeah. So Alan reached out to me in start of 2018, and he wanted to do like the first real securities exchange in the US, fully regulated, with an IPO. And I asked some questions, and it turned out to be with an ERC20 token, and I had some concerns, but as he explained it to me, it still kind of makes sense.
Well, obviously your concerns were unfounded, and it was totally fine with everybody.
Yeah. Well, the way he explained it to me was very simple. They said the SEC was already used to working with Ethereum because of all the scams. So thank you, scams. And there were no real other platforms yet to build tokens on at that point, at least not the type of tokens with whitelisting addresses and stuff like that. Of course, you had Omni, but that didn't quite suffice. So I invested in the exchange, and he asked me to be an advisor as well. So that's my short story. We'll go through everyone, and then we'll discuss the issues being brought up.
So it's like, tell me about your background, how you got into INX. Like,
yes, Samson. Well, for you, it's kind of obvious. You just like invested to get your scam token listed. So,
well, so it's my turn next to talk about my INX origin story.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to start with, my name is Samson and I'm a scammer.
But I'm not Charlie. So is one of you guys that told me to invest. Someone messaged me and said, we're all investing in this thing, you should too. And I said, okay, fine. And then later on I read about it and I'm like, oh shit, it's an Ethereum token. But I think investing in a securities exchange is a good thing. There's no really big venue to trade. And that's the problem for security tokens, because if you can't trade it and there's no liquidity, then there's no market for it and no one's going to do security tokens. But if you have INX and they can service institutional customers, they can service the entire US market, then I think security tokens will boom. And I think security tokens are a good thing. And that's why I started working on Liquid Securities, which sits on top of the Liquid network, which you guys love so much. Because I think tokenized securities are going to revolutionize the capital markets. But yeah, that's why I invested. And yeah, that's it. It's that simple.
Okay, I guess Ricardo can go next. Let's do like white Asian. That's good.
That's super not racist at all. Yeah, so I mean, you guys know, like I've been for ages, I've been saying always buy $100 of every scam. You know, so like how could I not invest? Well, but more specifically,
except you bought like $1 million instead of $100. But let's not
economies
worry about
of
that.
scale.
No,
it's
he fat fingered the order.
Yeah, when I was filling out the paperwork, it was like 100,00, and then I was like, is a comma like, is that the decimal place in American? I don't know.
Because Europeans use a comma, right?
Yeah, it was very confusing. No, I use a space as a thousand separator. So the whole thing was very confusing, and I think we just ended up with too many zeros.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
The real reason is because Coinbase won't list Monero. This is his only chance.
Yeah, I'm trying to get INX to list Monero. But in all seriousness, so I actually do kind of like security tokens. I've mentioned this before on more than one occasion. Not because I think that security tokens are like, you know, some sort of great regulated thing or thing for regulators, but I think that it's kind of cool to be able to have shares in a company that are represented by tokens. Whether it's regulated or unregulated is, you know, up to your individual risk profile. But, you know, certainly there are tons of people that buy unregulated securities today in other forms.
Like
but I
Ethereum?
think it's, or Ripple. But I think that it's that's a separate issue to whether security tokens should or shouldn't exist. And quite honestly, like, I think, you know, if I think back to the discussions I had with Alan at the time, around platform and so on, because of course, like, you know, the tech is interesting to me. Like I had the discussion about counterparty, you know, I had the discussion about colored coins, I had the discussion about them rolling their own chain. We didn't have the discussion about masternodes because they're a joke, but, you know, we had the discussion about other avenues, and nothing really hit home because of the lack of traction with regulators, the lack of understanding with them. And it's not my business, so I can't force my views on them. You know, ultimately, if they say this is the path that we should take, we'll switch it out later, yeah, cool. It's like them deciding on a particular database for their backend. I don't really care. I can have opinions on that, but I don't really care what they settle on.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense that, like, it took like two plus years to do this. If they actually tried to do it on something other than Ethereum, it would have taken a lot longer.
Yeah, then there's also the feedback that they should have done it on Liquid. But at the time I invested in 2018 May, I think, like, Liquid was not launched yet. And even after Liquid was launched, it was not ready to support security tokens. We only had that capability late 2019, early 2020. and it's still not fully released. We're just testing it with a limited set of customers right now. So I don't think Liquid was an option. Ideally, it would have been on Liquid, and I tell Alan Silbert this every day, like, should have launched Liquid, should have used Liquid, but should have launched on Liquid, but it's too late for that. And
yeah, and something that I'd like to bring up, because I think that I feel like this is largely being glossed over, is even if it had been on Liquid, there would still be plenty of critics over, you know, like, oh, but it shouldn't have a token. Why does it need a token? You know, it can use Google Spreadsheet or whatever. Like, and that, quite honestly, it's a fair criticism. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that criticism, but I think it's silly to expect that the world we're going to end up with is only going to have one digital token and there will be no others. Because if that's the case, why work on RGB? You know, why work on any sort of tokenization mechanism unless you accept that sometimes projects will use that token, that technology to have a token even when they don't need one.
That's a nice subtle diss of Giacomo.
Well, no, okay. So another thing is, like, you're gonna run a security token exchange. So shouldn't the security token exchange have a security token? I mean, isn't that a logical thing?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah,
but,
I think so.
But for me, I think it's kind of weird. The thing that's being issued here is a security. The token is just a transport mechanism or a rail. It doesn't really matter. And I find it interesting that people are saying I'm a hypocrite, because I always say I love Tether. Tether is great, but Tether is on multiple chains as well. I think it offers a utility, and that utility is more important than what it lives on. It doesn't really matter if it is on Omni or if it's on Ethereum or on Liquid. It's useful either way. And it's also issued by a central party, just like a security token is. So does it really matter what it launches on it first? And I think the answer is no. But apparently other people disagree with me, which is okay.
I mean, I guess another thought experiment that I'd encourage people to consider is, if a project ICO'd on Ethereum and you know, it was widely panned or ignored even by Bitcoiners, and then it pivots to, let's say, counterparty, RSK, RGB, Liquid, like, and they really do a lot of good and good for the Bitcoin ecosystem. You know, they spend money on Bitcoin development or something. Like, what happens now? Do you go, oh, well, you know, we can't get over its origins? I'm struggling to understand, like, where the line is, because frankly, and I said this on Twitter mockingly, but really, it feels like a purity test. It feels like a no true Scotsman fallacy. It's like, this project just didn't do it well enough. It wasn't like good enough, and so now we must eschew it forever, and everyone who mentioned it.
Well, I don't think it's that. I think people just want to complain. There's nothing better for them to do, so they have to complain about something. It's like you said, like, if we did launch it on Liquid and it was perfect, we would still have gotten flack for something.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. And like I want to address also the other concerns that were brought up, like that it's still it's not cash flow positive yet. Well, of course not. I mean, it's like they spent 2.5 years with expensive lawyers trying to push it through the SEC. They built the exchange. That all costs a lot of money. And yes, there are no there's no cash flow yet. There are no users yet. Of course not, because it hasn't launched yet. I mean, the whole idea is that, like, this is where people can buy into from the start, like something that's otherwise only for VCs or stuff like that. And we're not telling you to buy it. Please don't buy it. I mean, most of you are Bitcoin holders. You don't want to give up your Bitcoin for this.
Yeah.
But if you're a trader, then it might make sense. Or if you're into security tokens, then it might make sense. But if you're just a Bitcoiner, don't buy it.
Really. See, this is the annoying thing for me. I got blasted for shilling the thing, but I haven't even posted about it until LOP started getting bashed. But apparently I'm shilling it, and I didn't even mention it or tweet about it until that blew up. And I even told Alan, like, don't put my name on the website as an advisor. You know, I just want to make it exist and bring it into reality. But I'm not shilling it. But maybe now I should, because I'm going to get blasted anyways.
Yeah. Well,
one of the criticism that we can talk about that I've noticed is the whole like advisors had options on tokens at a cheaper price. I would like to point out, yeah, I would like to point out that like I couldn't buy tokens at a price that was cheaper than launch price. Charlie, I believe you didn't get that option either.
Nope.
So it's only advisors, and I'm sure it was capped and so on. I'm sure that's quite.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it has to have like people say it's like 90x of the initial value because it was valued at after audit, it was valued at 1 cent per token. But because it has to have a value for the SEC prospectus. I mean, it's the same as if you do a startup and you get like options to buy stock, and it's like people have been working on this for 2.5 years. It's like people are supposed to work for free. I mean, this is we get the tokens instead of getting like money in return.
The thing is, it would have been better for us if Alan just gifted the tokens and had a $0 value. But then I thought about that some more, and I think the people on Twitter would have said, "Well, you guys like made infinite gains, went from 0 to 90 cents."
Yeah.
Well, it probably would have been better if you got paid in cash, all right, as opposed to token. But the startup doesn't have the cash to pay you guys.
Doesn't have cash for it.
Yeah.
I do feel it's a little unfair to on the one hand pretend to be pro capitalism, and then on the other hand dislike a company that's structured in a very traditionally capitalistic way. You know, reward the advisors that take the risk early on, reward staff that take the risk early on, you know, reward the early investors that take the risk. Like, that's capitalism. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
The problem is it just looks too much like just the ICOs we've been seeing since like 2016, 2017.
But I don't think it does, Charlie. It's like,
well, it doesn't, but just from the surface, it kind of looks very similar.
Well, that's because ICOs copied companies giving like stock and things to founders and advisors. That's not like an ICO thing. It's a company corporate thing. And I think the INX IPO is like the anti-ICO. It does every single thing opposite from an ICO. Everything is transparent, audited. Like Alan Silbert told me he can't even go to the bathroom without approval from the SEC. So I don't know why people are
I don't believe that.
Well, maybe.
So there's another angle here. So we also getting shit because we are supporting like a KYC platform. I mean that's more from the privacy people, but.
Hey, so why aren't the Monero people hanging Fluffy? Like, why is he unscathed? They should be blasting him right now.
Because I've been quite open about investing in scams for a long time. Like, I mean, this isn't new.
Well, you are a DeFi farmer, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm
because this is nothing close to what he did with the Monero Enterprise Alliance.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good take on it. No, but like in all seriousness, like I think that the reality is centralized financial institutions are going to exist for a long time. It's virtually impossible that we're going to have like decentralized, privacy-focused, no KYC institutions and projects become dominant, I think, in the next decade. That's not to say that they won't become prominent and that they won't be like a large number of users of decentralized exchanges and that sort of thing, performing KYC-free transactions. But I think that at this point in time, to expect governments to relinquish the control that they've become used to is unrealistic. But we can ease them out of it. You know, we can slowly get them comfortable with self-sovereignty and then start getting them more comfortable with like analyzing data in a different way instead of having all of the data served up to them with names and dates and geolocations attached.
Also, people want to go mainstream, and if you want to go mainstream, you have to go regulated for a part.
If you want hyper-Bitcoinization, it's not a bunch of people just buying and hodling. There has to be another avenue for money to get in, which is institutional money and money that's not worried about getting KYC. Like, how do you get to multi-trillion-dollar market cap? I don't think it's just retail, right? There's got to be another avenue. But I was just thinking, like, this whole thing reminds me of when we launched Liquid. I don't know if you guys remember, but a lot of Bitcoiners were really angry about Liquid too, and they're thinking they have to use it. But again, like Liquid is initially geared for inter-exchange settlement, for traders to use it as a rail to move quickly from one exchange to another, or to take coins on and off exchange. But people were angry because they thought, like, I'm not going to put my Bitcoin into this because, you know, it's a federated system with exchanges, and you have to KYC too. So there's like a very similar parallel. There's a parallel here, which is they think that it's for them when they're not the target market and they don't need to invest. Like a lot of the anger feels almost like it's social justice warrior anger, because they're just angry about it.
So you know what's interesting? I've been thinking a lot lately about Grayscale, because, like, you know, I poke fun at Grayscale online. You know, I just want Barry to give me more than noted as a reply, but I poke fun at Grayscale because they list stuff like Horizon and Ethereum Classic and whatever for institutional funds. And don't get me wrong, like, I've got no problem with Horizon and Ethereum Classic as like digital currencies, but you know, in an institutional portfolio, it's probably misplaced. But like,
probably definitely.
I keep thinking about Grayscale's Bitcoin fund, and like, why aren't those people just buying Bitcoin? Well, there's a reason that they're not just buying Bitcoin, and those reasons are not reasons that I need to understand or care about, but that's the way for them to access Bitcoin, for them to be exposed to Bitcoin. And ultimately, it is good for Bitcoin, even though it's not people who have ledgers and trezors and cold cards and they don't own their private keys and.
Well, for Grayscale, for the GBTC fund, the obvious place is for 401ks, right? So people can invest in that with their 401k. So that's the obvious reason for that. So another thing about this entire thing. So everyone hates on Coinbase, everyone hates on some other big exchanges. And now you have a fully regulated exchange that's going to be working in the US that has like Bitcoin maximalist advisors, that's Bitcoin friendly. I mean, people should support that, in my opinion. But I'm biased, of course, but
cancel it.
Yeah, I think that's overly optimistic, I think. No, but yeah, so I do think like, in the context of like hyper Bitcoinization, I wonder how people imagine it's going to happen. Do they think that the world is going to go like, oh, you know, I've just realized that my self-sovereignty is threatened, that my assets can be seized, so I'm going to go figure out how to use a cold card. Like, that's not the way. I mean, it's gradually that's a part of it. First.
That's a part of the equation, but it's a big equation, and it's not only that part.
Exactly. And it also has to start somewhere. It has to start slowly. It has to start gradually. It has to build. And this is a step in building, not INX maybe specifically, but like having regulated exchanges, getting regulators comfortable with it, even things like Coin Center. Like, I was deeply critical of Coin Center at one point. And I think ultimately institutions like Coin Center do more good than harm. You know, they help educate regulators, and unfortunately, just like, not everyone can go like, well, I don't like the regulators in the country that I live in, I'm gonna up and leave and go live on an island. You know, most people don't have that option. They have to stay put. They have to work a 9 to 5, and they have to hope that, you know, their little the Bitcoin, the few sats that they have or whatever that they're accumulating are viewed positively by regulators because of efforts like Coin Center, because of companies like INX that are doing things in a legal, regulated way.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, for me, nothing changed really, because people were already hating on me because I'm friends with Ricardo and with Charlie, who are scammers already anyway, according to them. So
that's what I get too.
The people who hate on us now are basically the same type of people that said that before. That's why you guys got off like easy.
Well, the thing is,
plus we didn't get any tokens for free or for 90x returns. So
yeah.
Well, actually, speaking of that, maybe I'll put you guys ask you guys a question about that, right? So during the ICO boom, like I've been advisors to like dozens of companies, and some of them actually created their own tokens. And I actually specifically told them that like, don't give me any tokens and don't mention me as advising your token, because I actually didn't want to touch any ICOs back then, because I know like most of them will like drop 99% and be scams. So question for you guys is, why didn't you guys do that? Like, why were you okay with receiving tokens on Ethereum when you've been bashing Ethereum the whole time? I think this is where like the people are saying like the hypocrisy comes in, right? So maybe you can answer to that.
Who do you want?
Because
who wants to go first?
because I just like to get paid for my work, and for me it doesn't matter if it's on Ethereum or something like that. In fact, I make more Bitcoin, but what does it matter if it's on Ethereum?
Yeah, well, for me, it's like the Tether example. You can have Tether on exchange too, right? I don't need to take the tokens in ERC format. I can wait until they do it on Liquid and take it in Blockstream Green, which also supports securities. Like, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's a security. You could use ERC to transport it if there's another exchange, another security token exchange that accepts it. But you can also not take the token and take it when it's on the rail that you prefer.
Did you guys expect it to look really bad on you when this was announced?
Well, yeah, I kind of expected it, but at the same time, we were talking about from the start already, like if there is later some possibility to move to another chain. But then it became clear that once it's in the prospectus, it cannot easily be changed anymore, since it's already like 2.5 years in the work. So yeah.
Well, maybe I was naive, but I thought I could get them onto Liquid before they launched. But I'm still working to get them off, but it's just going to take time. And
I think Ellen is DMing you right now, Samson.
I can't look at my computer right now. I'm on a live stream.
Okay, let's move on. So we talked enough about this. So Samson, you have an announcement to make. First one.
Oh yeah. So I had a collabo with Bitcoin Meme Hub. I'm sure you've seen his work on Twitter. Rick, can you push up the photo?
Pushing it up now.
Engage.
It's engaged. It's on.
Is it? I don't see it. Oh wait, that's delay, right?
There's a delay. Samson, you'd swear this is the first show we've ever done.
Okay. So
no, we only do
the show once a month. I always forget. So
we hardly ever like show pictures and stuff. So
that's because Rick messes it up. But anyways, so this is a Bitcoin is FU money mug that we designed together, and I helped him produce it, and now it's on the Excellion Hat Store. So it's a really cool mug because when you're drinking it, if you're right-handed and you take a sip, you'll see the bottom of the cup. I don't have one with me, unfortunately, but it has a middle finger on it. So you can give people the finger with your FU money.
And the Bitcoin self-censored, unfortunately.
The Bitcoin logo is on the outward-facing side if you're right-handed too. So basically, they'll see Bitcoin, and then they'll see the finger at the bottom. It's really cool.
And if you're left-handed, then it's the world's dumbest mug.
Well, then you're giving the finger to yourself, right?
Yeah. So that was the announcement. That was what all the hype was about. Okay.
Big announcement.
Kind of boring. Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on then. You also launched some new CoinDesk site or something like that? No? CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, something in between, the blog, you know.
It's
what was it called?
So we launched a news site called BTC Times. It's a news outlet focused on Bitcoin-related topics and Bitcoin-adjacent things that I think Bitcoiners might be interested in. Basically, the rule of thumb is if Bitcoiners are talking about it on Twitter, then we're okay to write about it. So we might write about Ethereum fails or anything else, or maybe we'd be interested in a Taproot activating on Litecoin. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Charlie. So that this outlet is going to cover topics.
So Bitcoin adjacent is the way to say altcoins now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what you're saying, but that's what I'll refer to it as. But
okay, so can I just in future I can refer to Monero as Bitcoin adjacent?
Yeah,
I just want to be clear.
It has a Samsung stamp of approval, so.
Well, actually, we should skip back. There was an interesting blog post from Litecoin, not Charlie's Litecoin, but LIGHT coin, talking about Bitcoin pragmatism. I think that's a really good read. I think people need to read that. But yeah, so BTC Times is going to write about the news that Bitcoiners care about and keep focused. Other publications like CoinDesk or others, they might cover altcoin launches or new alts or just kind of really shilly news. We want to avoid that and just focus on like more Bitcoin centric stuff and things that people are discussing.
And of course, it's going to have a token, right? That you need to. It's on Liquid, and you need it to read an article.
Yeah, someone actually suggested that.
And
It's
as
not a bad
advisors,
idea.
all the advisors got like a bunch of tokens at like half a cent. So.
Well, I think we got flack for that launch because you and Charlie are also investors in it, alongside me, Alistair, and we have another investor.
I'm not. I didn't get any shit for this one.
Well,
you learned your
doesn't
lesson.
get any tokens.
You learned your lesson, right, from INX. So you're smart.
No, I just don't invest in media companies because I think they're not that
It's actually
profitable.
because we didn't want your money. Your money is no good with us.
Yeah.
I want you to pay with INX tokens. They're up 90x. I mean, come on.
We only accept Bitcoin adjacent tokens, like Monero.
Yeah. So back on topic, BTC Times is obviously at www.btctimes.com. You can also follow on Twitter. We're using the @BTC handle. And we have Telegram and everything else. You can find all those links. The website is still under development, so we still have some features coming that are pretty cool. But yeah, check it out.
But shouldn't the @BTC handle talk about Bitcoin Cash?
You think so, right? You think so. That's why everyone's so confused.
Is
I'm
Bitcoin
totally
Cash
confused.
Bitcoin adjacent? I'm just trying to get my terminology right here.
No, it's under. How do you say that? Yeah, so I think people are confused because on Reddit, r/BTC is the Bcash subreddit, and r/Bitcoin is the Bitcoin Reddit. But then on Twitter, it's kind of reversed, at least for a long time in the past, because @Bitcoin was the Bcash one until, I don't know, the guy changed his mind. And then @BTC was always the...
I don't think the guy changed his mind, Samson.
Well, Roger stopped paying him? I don't know. Roger stopped paying him then.
Okay, so that's enough shilling of the BTC Times because I didn't invest in it, so I don't really care that much about it. But Elaine did write an article about INX on it, and that was actually a pretty good read. But I like Elaine, so Elaine is cool.
But you're biased.
And here is Podcat. Yeah. Wet ass pussy. Anyway, so
we got a lot of crap about BTC Times because Fluffy and I invested in it. And the Bitcoin maximalists were saying that this is going to be talking about like Litecoin and Monero all the time.
Yeah, I'm so tired. See, but it's not the real Bitcoin. Like, you don't really have like real Bitcoiners anymore anyway. So it's like all those people complaining seems to be coming from like the latest generation of Bitcoiners.
Well, you see, this is the other annoying thing for me. It's like the eternal September. We already got canceled in 2019 when the news first broke about INX, right? And that was a year ago. And now we're getting canceled again from the new batch of kids that seem to be completely oblivious to what happens in the past. And it's just really annoying to see that. Yeah.
I know. CoinDesk published an article in 2019 when the F1 filing was made public.
Yeah.
So I'm just surprised no one read that. Or I mean, the people that are moaning about this didn't read it.
Yeah, but some of them should have read it, right? Some of them are actually old Bitcoiners that should have read it in the past. And I think they're just trying to get more attention for themselves by being angry.
What's annoying for me is that these like Bitcoin maximalists think that they can decide who's a Bitcoiner, right? It's like Ricardo and I have been in this space like before most of these people even heard about Bitcoin. So it's not like we've been Bitcoiner for like, what is it, like 9+ years? Or at least I have. And it's like, why do you get to decide if I'm a Bitcoiner or not?
But you see, this is like willfully missing out on the nuance or something, because all the Bitcoiners, the pure Bitcoiners, are angry that a bunch of Bitcoin maximalists invested in INX. But then like you and Rick like Bitcoin, but you also have your own alts, right? But then for BTC Times launching, they're also angry because like they don't say like it's all Bitcoin maximalists backing the publication. It's like 2 altcoiners, and that's the big deal, right? It's like there's a lack of nuance and a lack of consistency, right? They should be happy about BTC Times because you're all maximalists, apparently.
I know.
Yeah,
You know,
maximum.
no, but I mean, look, like Charlie has done so much for Bitcoin, also with Segwit and stuff like that, and with Litecoin. Ricardo is funding Lightning development and Lightning privacy tools. You've been involved with like the mining and with Segwit and everything, and you're doing some crap with Liquid. And I've written a bunch of things. It's Segwit, and I invest in HODL, which is like the only real exchange yet where you can buy without KYC.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we might do a lot of stuff, but we're never going to get thanked for it.
No,
we'll just get canceled for things that people don't like. It's a thankless job. I think a lot of the things we do benefit a lot of people, and they just don't know it or don't care. But you know, you're welcome.
Well, what I always find amusing is, and I've tried to steer conversations this way on Twitter, but like people don't really get it. It's, you know, it's like, okay, you want to criticize me, you want to come at me, no problem, but what have you done for Bitcoin? You know, I mean, if what you've done for Bitcoin is act like a cultist on Twitter and, you know, buy some sats with the scraps of money that you have at the end of the month, like, yeah, I don't think you've done much for Bitcoin, except make it a weird religion. So that's, you know, that frustrates me as well. Like, I will gladly debate with someone that's actually done something for Bitcoin. But I found that those people are generally less aggressive and more, they're happy to accept me as someone who has generally been good for Bitcoin.
The main problem here is that, like, you can argue that Roger Ver also did a lot for Bitcoin and Eric for his and stuff like that, and they turned. In my opinion, we haven't turned yet, of course.
No, according to a lot of the Bitcoin people on Twitter, we've turned already, so it's over.
We've turned to zombies?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's time to pack in the towel. No one will watch the show anymore. No one will come to the conference that we haven't spoken about yet.
What?
There's another announcement. Samson, what's the next announcement?
Yeah. So speaking of doing things for Bitcoiners, we have a big announcement. So as MCC New York was canceled because of coronavirus, we decided to put together MCC VR. Rick, roll image.
Image is rolled.
All right. So we've so Pixelmatic actually spent a good couple of months developing this. We started probably around April, I think. We wanted to basically create a VR conference that people could go to, like a real VR conference, not the one that Udi did, which is just one room, but a full-fledged conference.
Udi is such a loser. Ooh, dissing on Udi.
Yo.
We wanted
that's so mean.
We wanted a full VR conference with a world that you can actually walk around in. So we have 2 stages, just like MCC. They're themed, and we have a lobby. People can walk around and talk to other people. And then we have done something really cool with sponsors. So typically when you have an online conference, it's just going to be speakers talking over Zoom, and you're just sitting there listening. So we actually work with the sponsors to create islands. So the setting is like you're on this cliff and you look out into the ocean, you see a bunch of islands in the distance. But all those islands are actually the sponsor islands, and you can teleport to them from the lobby. And every island is fully customized with design direction from each sponsor and unique to them. So you can go to these different worlds and see this like themed world, and they can play games with you, and you could potentially win prizes too. So we actually have real engagement. The sponsors can talk to people just like they would at a normal conference, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We have a VIP package too, which comes with a set of more customized avatars. So we'll have like a Bitcoin wizard. We'll have a honey badger animal in the style of Magical Crypto Friends. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun thing that people can experience and socialize.
Can they experience this without a VR headset?
Yes. So VR headsets are optional. You can join from your browser, and you can, if you want to be immersive and you want to wave your hands around, then you'll need a headset. But you can just go and listen to the talks on your browser. No.
Just if you use your browser, you can still wave your hands. It will just not show up on the screen.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So that's our big announcement. Did you actually say the date?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was not really listening to you.
I didn't say the dates. You can announce the dates.
Wait,
We actually don't know what the dates are because we keep changing it.
It was. Oh fuck! I misclicked.
The dates have changed like 18 times.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, no one knows.
25 and 26 of September, and it was starting at 4 p.m. UTC.
I think it's 7 a.m. Pacific, whatever that time is, UTC.
Okay, 7 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah. So
minus 8, 9.
It's like afternoon for you.
Yeah. It's early afternoon, and it ends like 6 hours later.
Yeah. So the time is because it's an online conference, and we don't want to do it like 24 hours. I think that's just exhausting. So we tried to pick a time that would work okay for the whole world. It's early for me because it's 7, but in Europe, it's going to be afternoon until evening, and we'll be able to catch people in Asia too if they're willing to stay up late. So you can, I think it starts at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., but then you can at least go for a couple hours. And we'll put all the talks on YouTube after the show is done. But yeah, there's no live stream because you just have to buy a ticket. Tickets are going to be $15. That's really just a anti-DDoS mechanism to filter. But yeah,
otherwise all the Bcashers will be DDoSing us.
Yeah,
and you'll be able to pay in Bitcoin and Bitcoin adjacent currencies.
Oh man, I'm gonna get shit for that, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. So someone is asking if Ricardo will show up this time at the conference.
He's gonna go to New York
in person.
He's gonna go to New York.
I'm gonna be standing next to the server, like in the data center, shivering because it's so cold.
He's gonna download himself into the cyberspace and be there in person.
Exactly. So it's an episode of The Matrix.
Yeah. So we have a lot of sponsors. We've lined them up. We've been building their islands. We haven't announced the whole roster of sponsors yet, but I can mention a couple. So we have Crypto Steel and Sideshift, and their islands look pretty cool. I think you'll like Andreas Brecken's island. And we have a lot of interesting talks lined up, and we're still filling out the rest of the agenda. So if you have an interesting topic, then hit me up.
So if you want to sell some security tokens, just let us know.
Yeah. Also, does the Sideshift island have a giant lightning node with 100 Bitcoin locked up in it?
No, but you'll see when it's live.
Speaking of sponsors, we should talk to Alan Silbert.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. I wonder if Grayscale will sponsor. They could do like a Horizon thing.
Okay. Yeah. So there's one last topic on my list. That's actually a silly one. So CoinMarketCap, since they got bought up by Binance, they've been doing all kinds of strange stuff. So they implemented the chat function where you can post stuff per cryptocurrency, but they also, for some reason, changed the Monero logo back to the old one, or to a new one, or whatever happened.
No,
there.
it's a logo that has never existed. Like, I don't know where they got that. They just made that one up. They were like, we don't like the Monero logo. This one looks better. We're just going to use this one that we made. And it's been like that for ages. And like people have emailed them and asked them. So eventually, like, I got on Twitter and I was like, hello, can you please change the Monero logo back? And they replied and they were like, hello, please have an official team member contact us about your rebranding.
And then you were like, do you know who I am?
No, I said that because he wasn't willing to do it.
I don't care. I mean, like,
You pulled a
but then
Charles
they-
Hoskinson.
yeah, and then they went and changed the logo, so I didn't even need to email them about our rebranding.
They did the same thing with the Litecoin logo. A few weeks back, they changed the logo back to like the old logo, the silver one. And then I contacted them and they changed it back. It's kind of weird. They just all of a sudden changed it to the old logo.
Did they talk to you, or did they say contact support?
They talked to me because I'm actually important.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. So apparently I disappointed some people because they expected the last topic to be more interesting and fun and not just about stupid logos. I'm sorry.
Someone on chat asked if we're gonna accept Lightning payments for tickets.
Yeah,
So-
of course.
So we're
Yeah,
using...
because it's Bitcoin adjacent, right?
Oh,
Well,
actually, that's a funny one. So
I think like Ricardo and I just really love that joke.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
roll
because
with
you're
that
both
one for the next
shitcoiners,
6
so.
months.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry,
But yeah,
no.
someone's
We are
asking-
Bitcoin adjacenters.
Bitcoin
someone's
pragmatists.
asking about the competition of last episode, and I think we kind of forgot about that.
Well,
We keep on forgetting about it.
I think we got to do it again because we got to.
No. We've got to go look at those tweets and make a decision. We can't do it. This is the third time we were doing it. What do we look like, Justin Sun?
But there's only one winner because I think Bitcoin Meme Hub posted one, and some other guy posted one. So okay, fine. We'll pick a winner.
Someone's
We'll
asking
figure it
about the cold card clone. I know that MVK was talking about that, but I didn't really follow it exactly. Anyone know about it? Something
I think
about
they got cloned.
Yeah, well, it was like
someone used their
identical
open
clone. Or?
source like hardware
Foundation
copy.
devices or something. Passport. It's called the passport.
To be honest, I didn't really care too much about it.
Yeah, I saw Rodolfo complain, but I didn't really. Yeah.
I don't know why
So
anyone would buy a clone.
I have a small obsession with like Bitcoin and Bitcoin
Adjacent
adjacent
stuff?
Yeah, hardware wallets. So I have a bunch. So I must admit to having bought a Passport Founders Edition. I hope I get it. I have some really cool stuff. Maybe one day I'll show you. Like I have a prototype ledger, a ledger blue. That's like
Oh, but
really
that really looked like a cool device. It was just useless.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
I mean, visually it was nice.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so do we have any other questions or topics? Or for, yeah, and from now on, just a general reminder: please use CoinGecko or something, and not CoinMarketCap anymore. For
That's one.
yeah,
Why?
Yeah.
Litecoin is actually higher on CoinMarketCap than CoinGecko. So
because
I'm gonna keep looking at
CoinGecko
CoinMarketCap.
actually tracks Polkadot. You
Never
got
heard of
dotted.
I got dotted.
Yeah, you got dotted. So, any more questions or anything else?
Mr.
Otherwise, we can go
Hodl
back to
saying-
farming.
Mr. Hodl says Magical Shitcoin Friends is the most awkward podcast in the history of podcasts.
Cats. Podcat is here.
Yeah. Well, we do have a podcast, so he must be referring to that. Whale Panda, what do you think about him calling your cat awkward?
She's getting old. It's normal.
It happens.
She's already 10, so I mean that's old for a
That is
cat.
old. Yeah.
So yeah, and Mr. Hall, I mean, I met him a couple of times in person. In person, he's okay, but on Twitter, I mean, come on. The funny thing is, so the people are saying like, oh, I'm canceling my Casa subscription, and I'm canceling that, and I'm not going to watch that anymore. They never did. They never owned Casa subscription. They never watched us. So nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to change. It's like the BSV people who are like, oh, you have a cartoon that is trying to appeal to kids. I'm like, have you ever watched an episode? I don't think there's a lot of kid-friendly content on here.
Well, we
Well, the
didn't
cat-
really encourage that much this time. The cat,
I mean,
the cat.
like if kids watch this show, they'll be excited for like the entire intro, and then they'll fall asleep.
Pretty much.
Well, to be fair, our audience falls asleep anyways.
Yeah.
This is true. But you know what? I enjoy this time hanging out with you guys and with the like 17 people that watch. So I'm going to keep on doing it.
Yeah.
120 at the moment. That's actually a good one.
Well,
People are expecting way more drama.
The show is really just for us to chat,
Catch
right?
up.
Like,
Yeah.
if we wanted to go
Catch up.
big, we would really do it pomp style and bring on
Well,
big guests
we
all the
stop
time.
using cartoons if we wanted to go big.
Yeah, and we do it more than once a month, once-ish a month.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it for now. Apparently Eric Voorhees was an investor in Foundation Devices. Okay.
Oh, here's a good question. Why is the Litecoin card accepting Bcash?
I think they're talking about. So the Litecoin card is a card we announced where you can. It's a Litecoin debit card, where you can deposit Litecoin and spend it in stores or anywhere that accepts Visa, and it will, at the time of purchase, it will auto convert the Litecoin to US dollar and pay the merchant. So by accepting Bcash, it's the card. You can actually fund the card with Bcash, or like, I think there's like 20 different cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Bitcoin adjacent cryptocurrencies. That when you send it, and when you send it into the card, it will auto convert to Litecoin. So in that sense, it accepts Bcash and other Bitcoin adjacent cryptocurrencies.
I mean, that's a very vague definition of it accepting Bcash.
Yeah, I think that's what they're asking about. But yeah.
You're going to get canceled by the Litecoin community.
So there were some questions about what we think about DeFi. I think it's mostly silly, and it's just like the yield farming and stuff like that. Mostly doesn't make any sense. But there is an interesting Bitcoin semi-DeFi project that will launch in September, but I cannot disclose it yet.
No.
Will Panda invested in.
You can't do
Of
that.
course, I'm not going to chill it if I don't invest in it. I mean,
so DeFi, yeah, I mean, like I find DeFi is like, there's been a plethora of scams. And to be fair, I mean, I think there are some people who are trying really hard to build good projects, but it's, you know, when Ethereum fees hit like $40 for you to execute a swap and whatever, like the reality is that it's a whale's game. Somebody who wants to play around in DeFi with like $100 is going to end up getting burnt pretty quickly by fees. And yeah, I mean, maybe there's ways of fixing that. I've seen some interesting proposals, but the reality is that the Ethereum fees are the thing that's going to make that make everything like that like almost impossible to get off the ground in a sustainable and scalable manner. What I do find interesting, and this is, you know, absolutely not advice at all to look at any of it, but I do find stuff like Based kind of funny. It's like basically a meme-based DeFi project.
I thought that's Yam.
No, Based is even more like it's just like this like crazy weird color scheme, and you know, it's like a game of who's the weakest hand. The dynamics are really interesting because they're a little bit obfuscated.
You're basically shilling it now. You realize that, right?
Oh, well, I mean, it's, you know, I don't suggest anyone plays with it. I do find it interesting that that stuff like that can exist, because it's kind of like the Dogecoin of DeFi. You know, it's funny. It makes me laugh.
Only whales can make money off of DeFi projects?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're making like
the fees, yeah,
if you let's say that there's something that's paying out some crazy amount like 6,000% APY, which happens with surprising regularity, and that's only sustainable for a few days, and you're also worried about like impermanent loss due to the price of the underlying token dropping. So maybe you only want to be in with like your large pot of money for a few hours and then not risk the loss and get out. Now, you can do that if you're playing with $100,000 because you don't really care about the fees, and invariably you've got to hop through like 17 different hoops to get from one thing into the next, with all sorts of fees along the way. But, you know, if you only have $100 to play with, then chances are you're just going to end up losing it. So it's like a really bad casino.
So you can't get your chips out.
Yep. They're actually like I've seen people who have, like, you know, they put $100 in and now they've made like $20, but like because of the fees of sucking that out and converting it to the other thing or whatever, like they'll just be back at square zero, and that's the best case scenario for them.
I think it's square one.
Square one.
So
yeah.
It's only good for people who wear $1 million watches on the wrong wrist.
Yeah.
That was lower. That was lower. It was wrist adjacent.
Okay. Enough chilling DeFi projects. So I guess that's it for this episode. I think we addressed most of the issues or the things that came up. Of course, not enough for like really difficult people, but we're not gonna go convince them anyway. So yeah, I guess that's it for us for now, and we'll see you guys at MCC VR hopefully, because I don't think we will have another episode before that.
Unless we're cancelled.
Unless we're cancelled,
you won't go.
Well, people won't actually know if we actually went because we'll have our body doubles.
We just pay people to play us. Okay, so thank you everyone for watching, and good night. Or well, no, I guess. Well, for me, good night. For Asia, good night.
That for me too.
For Samson, it's like morning, early morning.
No, it's like 11. It's noon actually.
Well, it's always night for me.
Have a nice lunch.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you in a few months.
Bye.
Bye.